Today we open a series and introduce the IKS Enlightenment series. This is part of our Buyambo program that is meant to send teachings to the world about Islam to try and educate the nation and the world at large about who are we as Africans, to make sure that we also restore the African pride. In this series, you will be introduced to different speakers. You'll be learning about different things that are relating to isintu, amasiko, and namasikompilo. These are all the things that come up today in our daily lives, and most people, unfortunately, are mistaking a lot of these activities and rituals as ubungoma. This is why the need for such type of teachings are needed more today in community. We watch everything every day. We consume information on social media, on news, and everywhere else about Africans, and more especially if I were to talk about the Southern African diaspora. We are talking about a lot of things that we are seeing, practices, rituals, traditions, and yet we don't understand what they mean. Where do they start from? And why are they done? In this series, we are planning to take you through a lot of different stages, and that's why we are going to start on looking at an individual, a person in an African context, from the time they are born to the time they come of age, the initiations and all of those things, and they build their own families, and then later death and even post-death. We are going to take that journey that looks at a life of an African. We are not experts, nor the people that will be coming here are experts in any field, but we are well informed, well experienced, and we know what we are talking about. Hence we're saying to people, the unfortunate part about African history and African ways, they were always passed down orally instead of anything being written. And that's where our Western counterparts are beating us. Most of their history, their traditions, their cultures, everything was written, recorded for the next generation to make sure that they accept and take these teachings. Our great-grandparents, our ancestors in general, they will sit around the fire as Ziko and they'll pass the messages that are important. But what they knew for a fact is how to make sure that they raise a well-groomed individual. I'm going to touch on many things that are happening. There is a lot that we're seeing today that is happening, and abangoma are being put in the forefront, and they're practicing amasiko esintu, but these masiko are now labeled as bungoma practices. This is the lack of knowledge from our people to say these things are actually African rituals. They are not even ubungoma. I'll make an example. There's an argument that is already now in the public sphere that goes on to say, ingane ingabiya lotyolwa na. Uyayilobola na ingane. And there's an argument, some are saying ingane lotyolwa in order for the child to take the surname of the father. There's another school of thought that says, ayikho into enjalo esintwini ethi kuyalotyolwa. These are the topics that we'll be touching on. We are talking about imbeleko. And we are saying, what is this imbeleko thing? Because again, we have to understand there's a Nguni language that seems to be dominant in these spaces. Because ukulobola is, of course, a Nguni language. Imbeleko, again, it belongs to the Nguni people. And we want to bring in the Basotho, the Tsongas, and everyone else, the vendors, to say, guys, teach us about your ways, because we are all Africans and our ways are the same. Isintu sethu siyafana, but of course the terminologies that I use sometimes are different. And this is what in the series we'll be focusing on. We'll be focusing on those teachings. Ingane, I was making an example of imbeleko. This is a practice that is usually done at an early age, 21 days after birth, right? And that's when then the mother comes up to what is called in Xhosa efugwini. However, now we're finding that this practice can be done and someone is an adult, and yet it is still called imbeleko. There is an argument in that space, and that's what our teachers also will talk to, so that we can learn and understand, are we supposed to just say an adult is doing imbeleko, or are we supposed to say ungeniswe emsamo or ubikwe emsamo wakibo kulo baba? There's also another thing that is out there. Someone will say, I did imbeleko on my maternal side. And we're arguing that in ngokwesintu there is no such thing. There is no imbeleko that is done on maternal side. There was a time when our ancestors used to make sure that young people, as they come of age, they go through certain rituals. And Today we hear of Bapedi people talking about Koma, for example. We hear Amaxhosa ethetha ngobheka entabeni, ethetha ngentonjane. We're hearing this. Abesutu also got something similar. We want, I know for a fact that Amandebele also are having the same type of rituals. These are rituals that are taking young people from the age of being a child to now becoming a young adult. But yet we are now missing a lot of knowledge. We are talking about Umemulo Emazulwini. We are talking about a lot of other rituals that are bringing a young person into an adulthood. Why are these not being done the same way? Why are they no longer respected as they used to be the time of our ancestors? Why different geographical areas now are doing things different, yet they are all, let's make an example, ngamaXhosa. Yet you told ukuthi umXhosa wasendaweni ethile nomXhosa wasendaweni ethile abenzi the same siko ngokufanayo of coming of age. These are the things that we are going to unpack, learn, and make sure that we correct wrong narratives. We are moving from that and we are coming to the one that is most controversial. We are talking about umshado, marriage. It is such a complicated topic because we live in a society that now have lost the value of marriage. We are now talking about, for example, now I've seen on social media people commenting about Ama Nazareth and their marriages and whatever is happening there. You see, that is where now we need to start educating people about Isintu. From there, them to understand what are we not going to sit here and say we're discussing about Nazareth. No, but we are saying that practice that we are watching there, it is not an unknown and unfamiliar practice. However, of course, it needs to be unpacked properly so that people understand that why umchado was one of the things young women will make sure that they are trained and groomed, preparing them for marriage. Because at the end of the day, wenzani umfazi ekhaya kuthiwa umfazi uzokukhulisa umzi. Uzawukhulisa kanjani umzi when you are coming with a lot of experience and damage of life? How are you going to really do this when you come from a family where there was no mother and father together? It becomes different and difficult. And these, unfortunately, these are the hard topics that we're going to need to touch on to say, are people that are going to marriage, male and female, are they really ready for marriage? Who groomed them for marriage? Who prepared them for the challenges that they're going to face? How do they know how to build a family? How to integrate two families to be one? All of this we are going to touch on and to make sure that we are learning from the ways of our forefathers. There's something that says times have moved, amasiko must change with times. There is no such thing, ayikho leyo nto, isiko cannot move with times. Yes, there are certain things that we are watching today. I was talking to someone the other day and I said, we're watching Umgidi in the Xhosa sense, where now the issue of the themes, the tents, and the decor is now an in thing. And we're seeing amazibazana. People don't even understand what that is. We're seeing people are not married becoming amazibazana. And now they're even setting up tents and we are questioning a lot. Uyalwa kanjani umuntu obuya esuthwini ententeni? These are the things that we are going to unpack, teach, so that we understand as we move with this, what we call civilization, we do not taint or destroy isintu sethu. Lento lento siyayijonga siqolasele ukwenzela ukubana wonke umuntu azazi ukubana ndingumAfrika kwaye uba ndingumXhosa or ndingumpedi or ndingumSuthu or ndingumTswana does not mean that we are different, ngoba amasiko esiwenzayo ayafana. It is important then to also observe something that we've been looking at. Death. We are no longer respecting death the way people used to Emandul. I've witnessed many times the issue of now, what do you call this thing? After tears. It has become a norm. Everywhere where they were burying someone, in just over an hour or two after they are starting to drink. It's a drinking spree. These practices are the ones that are deteriorating the fiber of our society. We are seeing people. There's a funeral here, next door they are playing music, they are doing their washing and hanging it whilst people are busy on the other side. Because we've lost Ubuntu. We've lost even the understanding and the respect of Amasiko 8. In this series of Buyambo, and again I repeat, our aim is to teach our people about who we are and make sure that we restore the dignity of our ways. That is the aim of this series, and that is why we are saying, let Africans not be lied to. Let them not be taught different ways, Western half and an African half. They must be African and understand who they are in a way that will make our ancestors proud. And these are all the things that we'll be unpacking, talking about, and making sure that we teach you and teach you more and more. And we also like to hear your views about these issues as we are going to touch them. We talk of coming of age. We talk of ways of living of our ancestors. We talk of a lot of practices. And yes, indeed, we are going to touch on Ubungoma, because if you look at the indigenous knowledge system, it has Ubungoma as one of the practices in the African cultures, right? So it means then healing is also there. We are going to touch on certain aspects, but we are not going to dig or deeper go into Ubungoma, because this series of Buyambo, it is not about Ubungoma, but to enlighten our people about the Sintu Setu. We welcome all of you. Tell others. There are speakers that are going to come and share information that they know, and they know it to be a fact. And we're also inviting you, where we have not touched any topic, to make sure that you introduce a topic to us, to say, this is a topic I would like to learn about, or this is a ritual that I would like to learn about, that we've seen being practiced, or it used to be practiced and people have stopped it. We are taking our people back to the African ways and African methods. We are saying to all of you, welcome to Buyambo, and walk this journey with us. As this is the video that introduced the series, we are going to have a series of videos that are going to be touching in specific topics. And we are saying, let Africa restore itself. Let Africa stand, and let Africa rise again. Tamagwe.